Welcome to the latest episode of 305 Vox Populi. I'm Mayor Manny Cid, and check this out. We're back at Town Hall in our studio temporarily, right? We're fixing up the studio at St. Thomas University. So once that's done, we'll be going back. But for now, we're back here in Miami Lakes, back at home. And with us today, we have Rufino Paulino, right? How you doing?
Correct. Good, and you, brother?
All is good, man. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you, man, because you are somebody who came to this country, has an incredible story. I don't think people know your story. And now today, you own 4 businesses?
Yes, currently 4 business.
4 businesses in Miami Lakes. So when we talk about business owners, this is the man. This is one of those folks that believed in our community so much that he's risked his capital 4 times right here in the town of Miami Lakes. So your why. Talk to us a little about you. When did you say food? And I know one of the businesses is not food, but but the majority are, 75% are.
Yeah.
When did you say the food business is in my future?
Well, the thing is, my background has nothing to do with food. I was studying civil engineering. So when I got here, I started in a pizza place, and then Cuban, the Mexican. So basically, pretty much all the type of food that you can, get to know here in Miami, I was there. And then, we started in Dr. Limon, back in Kendall, the original one. And I noticed that, I live around here. So I'm like, whenever I wanted to go out, there was not that many options. I had to go to either downtown or Pembroke Pines. So I'm like, there's a gap, there's a need here in Miami Lakes. So I started, driving in the neighborhood. And when the opportunity came, I already talked to the guys at Dr. Limon. I'm like, let's open up something in Miami Lakes. At that time, they were not franchising, but when they started, I'm like, mine is the first franchise. So I remember the first unit that we saw was near Ricky Bakery, and I talked to Philip Wiley. He's like, what are you looking for? What is the concept? I explained the concept. They went even to Kendall to take a look at it, and he showed me the one that we're right now. And honestly, the price wasn't in our range. I'm like, no, we cannot do it. And like, I believe it was like a month after that, he called me and he told me, listen, the other guys that want that unit is like food by the pound. So they didn't want that kind of, concept here. They wanted something more like, upscale. And he told me, listen, if they sign, Starbucks is not going to sign. So let's work it out. So at the end, we came out that something that worked for us, and the rest is history. Dr. Limon, since day one, was a success. Like the first 2-3 months, it was crazy numbers. Crazy people supporting us. It was a miracle.
No, 100%, because there was a moment in our town's history, and I remember I was already the mayor, and a lot of people were like, well, that type of restaurant can't survive here. You've done more than that. You've thrived, because people weren't sure about the Miami Lakes market, right? So when you made that bet, I think you opened up the doors for a lot of folks that were like, holy moly, Rufino, what he's created there, una factoría. I mean, we have there in terms of people coming in and out, and it's amazing. So you were that tip of the iceberg of bringing in that next generation of restaurants. And we have to thank all those folks that came before, the Beverly Hills, you have Gabriel down there, you have a bunch of different folks even on Main Street that have been here for a long time, and we got to give them kudos. But that next generation of spots, you're the one that started that off, and I always really appreciate that. But what year did you come from La República Dominicana?
I came back in 2005.
Well, that wasn't that long ago, which showcases how hard you've worked all these years, right? So 16 years already?
Sort of. But again, it's not just me. It's my whole family behind me. The whole thing about the business is, well, I already had a daughter. And by that time, my parents were about to come to the U.S. And back on my mind, it was like, oh, they're coming. They have worked so much for us. I don't want them to work in a sedan or Navarro. You're packing bags. There's nothing wrong with that kind of work, but they already were, seniors, old, and I didn't want them to work. I'm like, oh, I gotta figure it out. I have to figure something out so I can provide. So then the opportunity with Dr. Limon came, and funny story, we didn't have the money to start. Between me, my sister, exact numbers, we got 125K. We already talked to some partners, and they were going to bring 100K. That's all the capital that we had. And long story short, Dr. Limon, we spent like $500,000 just in construction. We didn't work with them because it didn't work out. We had problems before we even started, and we already had signed the lease. And my sisters were like, "What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "Let's do it." I remember, like, we had like 6 months during the architecture phase, plans and that. A lot of trouble we had, not with the town of Miami Lakes, it's just like the architect that we hired was a mess. So believe me, it was 6 months in that process, then 6 months in construction. Again, we had so little money, but in that way, we found so many angels, people that lend us money, and they trusted in us. So many people that I have to thank to, even some people that, okay, they didn't help us with the money, but they helped us along the way. I remember one of my favorite people here is Gabriel from Trattoria.
Shout out to Gabriel, good man.
He was next to me. Without me asking, I was working from Monday to Friday over there. And then Friday afternoon, Saturday and Sunday, I went to Dr. Limon to work as a server. So pretty much what I did over there, the money I had to pay the workers over here. Also, my
Wait. You worked at Trattoria?
No. I work at Dr. Limon.
At Dr. Limon.
So Fridays in the afternoon, Saturdays and Sundays. But the thing about Gabriel, we were working and he was so nice. He always sent us lunch and to the guys. And he's like always on us. He's like, we're gonna be neighbors and we're gonna be brothers. I'm like, this guy is awesome, So kudos to Gabriel. He's my brother.
That's awesome. Shout out to Gabriel. Good man. Always there to help the community. That's a really cool story. And I think the American dream is alive and well, right? And I know there's challenges overall with affordability, but when you hear stories like yours, right, to come here in the 2000s and having that success, but talk to us about the grind and those sleepless nights, because people see it today. They're like, Rufino tiene La Vitrola, tiene Cruzeros, tiene Limón, tiene Neo Salon. No. And no tenía padrino. There was no godfather out there tapping him, right? There was a grind. So talk to us about those sleepless nights before all the success.
That's what you see. Well, that's what you told me right now. People see, no, you were there, but they don't know, the background. I remember the first day of training, it was crazy because we didn't have money to pay the staff. I'm like, what are we going to do? But we had to open because we already started paying rent, this and that. And like I mentioned, one of the angels that helped us along the way, I met a friend, Adriana. She was about to open another franchise of Dr. Limon, but that's in Highlander. But the unit was under construction. She told me, listen, can I go there so I can see the training? She had no experience whatsoever in the restaurant business. I'm like, okay, of course, come. So I remember that day, the first day of training, she saw me. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, Adriana, I have no money to pay the staff. I don't know what I'm going to do. And that lady, without knowing me that well, she knew me for 2 months. She loaned me $60,000 here, just like that. So she was one of the angels that saved our life. So I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, we're here, let's do it.
Wow, man, it's a powerful story, man. God bless. How's she doing?
She's doing great.
Yeah.
Not just because of that, she has become one of my best friends because she's always there. But it's not just her. I have so many people like that, so many stories. There's another friend of mine. His name is Roger. He was our handyman. He was until a couple of days ago because he moved to Maryland. I remember I used to pay him $160 a day. Like most of the work that we did in Dr. Limon, he was the one. And we were working. He's like, during construction, he told me, what's up with you? He's like, brother, we ran out of money. And that happened in the way a lot of times. And that dude super humble. He came the day after with $5,000. He's like, this is all I have here. I know you're gonna pay me. And from that $5,000, I have to pay him $160 from the day prior. So stuff like that happened along the way. It was a miracle after a miracle after a miracle. But, you know, there was the grind. We never stopped. There was days that we didn't have no money, but we worked at the restaurant. We did something. We put, I don't know, tiles, this and that. And, you know, I believe in miracles because this story is nothing short of a miracle.
So, Rufino, give me a second because I need to thank our incredible sponsors. This podcast would not be possible without them. So I wanted to give a shout out to Miami Lakes Automall. Fred Senra, you are the man. Thank you for providing. He definitely is, man. He's good human being, great family man. Thank you for providing the seed money to start this. This was just an idea, and he said, you know what, I believe in it, and he was, him and Miami Lakes Automall stepped up. Shout out to Grisel. What do you think about, have you ever seen a mayor's office with this type of mural?
Never. It's awesome. It's super cool.
Really, really cool stuff. Shout out to Grisel Gajano, school counselor during the day, and incredible artist in the afternoons. Y Café Mi Vitrola, a great place. You want to dance, have a good time, great drinks, great food. Café Mi Vitrola. Any specials this week?
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're going to have by the weekend.
We'll have them coming out soon. And Limon, I think we had some, ¿cómo se llama?
Lomo saltado.
Lomo saltado. What did you guys think? Brent, Albert?
Great.
Candela.
It took me by surprise.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Y Enrique, thank you to Enrique and the entire team. I mean, you all provided the roadcaster. We appreciate you when you came on. And last but not least, Matter Lakes Broadcasting. It's an entire broadcasting academy that revolves around the podcast, them showcasing all the games of their schools, doing so many things. And it just started off with an idea. How many students do you guys have now in the program, in the Broadcasting Academy? 120. It started off with like 8 students, and they're up to 120. Brent, Albert, shout out to them. Rovi, Papa Bear, thank you. Without you all, it would not be possible. So thank you to our sponsor. God bless. One thing I wanted to touch upon is that a lot of people don't know that work, that grind that you just shared, how much money it takes to open up a restaurant. So something I wanted to talk about was, and maybe educate people, because some folks do things that doesn't make sense. Yelp, Google reviews. So I'll give you a real example. I was opening up Mayor's Cafe, and it took me a long time. People thought that, hey, you already got this. No. Being the mayor, it took me that much longer than anybody else. And I had to do way more to make it happen. And I remember my first Yelp review. Brother, I wasn't even open. My doors weren't even open. And some dude, I don't know if it was a dude or a lady, whoever it was, they left me a 1-star review on Yelp. My first welcome to the restaurant business. Say, hey, this place is taking too long to open. I'm like, you want to say a bad word. You want to go find them and be like, hey, what's wrong with you? Don't you understand that I'm risking my capital? I'm going to be hiring people in the community. What you're doing is hurting me. Because now, when people look for me when I first open, and just even if somebody gives me a 5-star review, I'm going to be at 3 stars to start off. And for some folks, that means stuff, right? You look them up on Yelp, and I'm like, wait, if you don't own a business, if you don't own a restaurant, I mean, you should think twice before leaving 1-star review, unless it was terrible and something really bad happened. But if not, like, you guys got to relax and learn the backstory, how much people invest in your communities before you assassinate people's characters. So I wanted to touch upon how does that because I think a lot of us love the people who have good times in our restaurants and our places of business. They never leave reviews. They're happy. They come back all the time. I have people that eat at my place twice a day. I mean, there's folks who eat twice a day at my spot, breakfast and lunch. But they never leave a review because they're happy. But that one person whose bagel was, no sé, they leave me a one. How does that, what would you tell, what message would you have for folks that leave 1-star review, who've never opened up a business in their lives, who've never risked capital, who've never signed a deal, yet tienen la potestad to hurt people with? What message would you have for those for those folks. And I'm sorry, and I have to share because me pasó a mí, and I know it happens to all of us.
It has happened to all of us. You know, I don't know, those kind of people, they tend to play God, let's say like that. They think they have the power to do that, and they do. But again, they don't think about what's, you know, behind that. We had so many good reviews, we had bad reviews, and we had some like that. Without even trying our food or just getting inside the business, they were already criticizing it. I'm like, I wanted to reach out to them. I'm like, come on, dude, what, why? But it is what it is. It's hard. They don't know how hard it was, how much money you put into that, you know, and it's hard, but you know, it is what it is. I got it close to the heart. It's really complicated. Right now, I have someone that helps me with that because at the beginning, I got so frustrated. I'm like, Jesus, give me a break. But I don't know. The people are complicated. In this kind of, you know, services that we provide, you know, retail, restaurant, hospitality, I think there's people that, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend nobody. They have nothing else to do. They just want to criticize. They just...
No, you're not offend. They offend us. But you know what I mean? I bet cuando tú lo ofendes para atrás, you can't do that.
But it's hard, you know. You have to deal with the punches, you know.
So I wanted to share that, Rufino, because I think the amount of money that you've invested in our community is commendable, and a lot of people don't see that. They don't understand that. You mentioned Limon, how much that costs, but you haven't talked about Cruzeros, or you haven't talked about the nail salon. You haven't talked. So the dollar amounts that he's invested in our community is huge. But why Miami Lakes? Now that goes back to, you know, why did you continue to invest from Limon? Why did you say, oh yeah, this was the place to be?
I don't live in Miami Lakes. My sister does, and my parents live, let's say...
You live a block away. A block away.
And again, I really thought, you know, Miami Lakes is so beautiful. It's, you know, let's say it's like a center. And I was always no Hialeah, no Pembroke Pines, nothing wrong with those, you know, parts, but I don't know, there was something about Miami Lakes. And that particular time, again, there was not that many businesses. And the ones that were already established, they were like very classic kind of restaurants. So I knew that we needed like that modern touch. And Philip Wiley from the Grahams, he thought that way. So there was nothing else to think about it. It's like, it is Miami Lakes, and you know, we did so good with Dr. Limon, and there was the opportunity with the unit, you know, that was Salata back in the days, and
yes,
they were only there for like a year or so. COVID hit, and the thing is, we already not figure it out, but we learned that sometimes is when it comes to restaurants, it's better to get a unit that was a restaurant before, that you don't have to spend that much money, because we spend a lot of money in Dr. Limon. You know, the layout from what it was before, it was horrible, so we had to tear it down. So that's why we spent that much money. But when it came to Cruzeiro, we didn't have to spend that much money, but I thought so. But this detail, you get to spend a lot of money, but not as much as if you're starting from the bottom.
Yep. No, you got that right. Before I hand it over to Albert and Brent, I know they have some questions lined up for you. Have one more. When you got here in the early 2000s and you were working at the Cuban Pizzeria, at all these different spots as a server, part of your goal, did you ever dream, looking back at that day, did you ever dream that you would be where you're at today? From working haciendo la pizza cubana, que tiene a little cheese crust, right? Did you ever at that day pulling out that pizza say, you know what, 10, 15 years from now, I'm going to own 4 businesses, my own businesses with my family. And I'm going to provide for not only my family, my kids, but my entire family is going to be part of this. Did you ever have that el sueño ese? Now, looking back tantos años, que how does it feel? Si había un sueño back then, pero como también, how does that feel?
I had the dream. I always used to ask people that were, you know, in a very high position that made it. I asked them, what's the secret? How do you do it? And of course, everybody has a different say. I remember I used to work in the Casa Casuarina, the Versace mansion, and I spoke with one of the owners, and he told me, listen, I never forget this. He told me, whatever you do, don't do something selfish. It's just for you to get rich. Think if you're opening a business, that families are gonna get income from that place, and they will be able to feed their family. And a couple of more things he said, but that really stuck to me. And he also said, see it as a reality, see it as something that is already breathing, that is already alive. So I got that close to my heart, and I started to think like that. I believe in energies and stuff like that. I believe you have to be positive all the time.
You heard it right there.
You have to, I always wake up with an attitude of gratitude. In that particular time of my life, I was so broke, and a friend of mine, she told me, listen, read the Secret. And I like reading, but I prefer to buy the DVD.
Got it.
Oh my God, that changed my life. I started following that path, a lot of attraction, thinking positive. I remember another book that I always recommend is Feng Shui Your Life. Those two, got together, and they helped me a lot. I remember I changed a lot of stuff in the apartment that I used to live. Everything that was broken, I threw it away. Everything that needed to be fixed, I fixed it. Plants here, plants there. People think that's, mumbo jumbo. It's not witchcraft or anything. It's just aligning your energy in your house and your life. And believe me, I saw the change basically right away. And I started, writing what I wanted. I want this, I want that, I want this kind of job. I want this amount of money, I want this type of business. And I don't know, with the help of my family, of course, we did it. But we try to always be positive. Even in the hard times when we were like, oh, there's no money, we laughed, we joke about it. And, everything, let's say, came to place.
That's really powerful. And I think folks need to understand that you got to master your energy, right? If the entire day you're negative, man, what do you think is going to come back? What do you think the universe is going to send right back to you, right? You got
100%.
I see it all the time. I see folks in politics and different, you get super positive folks, and you see them always, man, doing good. And then you see the negative folks, and you're like, but it's like, what was that case? Was it Eeyore? Like, you remember Winnie the Pooh? Yeah. That Eeyore was always like down and and I'm like, you can't be like that the entire day. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing that, how it changed your life. Just the positive thinking. That's actually really powerful. So I wanted to pass it on to Brent, Albert. What do you guys got?
So mine is a two-part question. So out of all your businesses, which one is your favorite and which one is the most profitable?
Dr. Limon is the most profitable, let's say like that. I really like Cruzeiro. I'm a steak guy. I love steak. When I'm there, I'm happy. I can eat steak every day. But they're all different. I love them all. The nail salon, my wife loves it. We were driving all the time on Main Street. I'm like, I told my wife, Main Street needed a nail salon and what's the name? Like a pet grooming. Like there's a pet grooming. But back in the day, we invested in the nail salon because she really loves that kind of business. She's like into details. At the beginning it was pink and gold. It looked like a cupcake, and then we changed it. But I love them all. But food-wise, Cruzeiro.
That's awesome. Good question.
So what do you think separates Dr. Limon from just a regular restaurant? What makes it very, very unique? What makes it different?
Dr. Limon is a really great concept. I was there since the beginning, since they started back in Kendall. And the good thing about Carlos the chef, is like he's very creative. He's like always creating new stuff, and he gave me the chance because, Limones, I had so much time in the restaurant business that I got a little knowledge. So he let me do special new dishes. Actually, this Dr. Limon, the menu is totally different from the other ones because I told him, listen, not always what works back there in Kendall is gonna work here in Miami Lakes. So he gave me the freedom to be creative. And those ingredients, like you've been in Peru, you know, the food is amazing. You know, all the ingredients, you know, they have so many potatoes, corn, this and that, the variety. And of course, if you think about it, ceviche in particular is like the best food if you know, want to slim down or if you want to get buffed up. So it's pure protein and lots of flavor. So I think that's what separates Dr. Limon and, you know, the Peruvian food from all the others.
And do you think that you'll be adding any new plates anytime soon to Dr. Limon, or is that the goal?
We actually have a different dish weekly. Like with the specials that we have made in 6-7 years, we can make 5 different menus. Because that's the thing. I know we're not in Calle Ocho, Brickell, downtown, you know, we're in Miami Lakes. There's 30,000 people, something like that. So we always need something new, you know, so people don't get bored, you know. And we have clients that they come and they tell to the servers, listen, get me what's new. They don't even ask because they know that it's going to be, you know, good. They trust us because, believe me, I'm always eating around or, you know, outside. So I see a dish and I tell the chef, listen, let's make it Peruvian. Vamos a peruanizarlo. So we create a new dish. But all the servers, all the staffers, they have to say, yeah, it's good. If there's one person that says, no, we go back to scratch and we, you know, try to fix it. So it has to be unanimous. Everybody has to say it's good. So there you have the new special, the new dish.
That's awesome.
Because obviously you're still on your journey, so I don't think the job's done
I'm
yet.
not there.
That's what I'm saying. You're not nowhere near your end game.
I don't see myself as a successful person. I'm not there yet. I'm still on the grind, and I have to provide to my family.
So what do you believe, or what would you like your end game to be? What would you picture your final destination with all the restaurants between Cruzeiro, Dr. Limon, Mi Vitrola? So like what is your
So what's your secret? What do you write? You write something down. What do you write? I mean, if you want to share it, if you don't, you know what I mean.
Completely up to you. But what do you think would be your ultimate goal?
In the future, expanding, you know, opening up in another, you know, maybe town or state, probably. Not at the time. I have 2 kids right now, 2 little boys, and I'm tired. I need to rest. I'm taking a break of opening new businesses right now. I need to focus on them because at the end, family is what started this, you know, journey, and I need more time for them because 4 businesses at the same time is madness. And with small boys, I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. It's crazy. Look at my eyes; they're red. I'm tired. I barely slept yesterday because of them. But consistency, discipline, and you know, I think that's it.
I think you might see Rufino in Texas, in North Carolina, in California in the future. So,
listen, I've traveled to, you know, so I'll be able to see the market. I last time I was in Texas, I like Texas, but there's nothing like Miami.
That is true.
Miami is beautiful, and especially Miami Lakes is so beautiful. So I appreciate what we have here. You know, Miami is the bomb, and Miami Lakes is awesome. Let me see you sometime. We had all the businesses after we started here, Dr. Limon in Miami Lakes. It didn't work as we wanted to. But when it came to, you know, permits and stuff, like Miami Lakes was so fast. You know, like the service that they provide here is amazing. Like to open up new businesses is, you know, they're super friendly. They help you a lot. So, you know, thumbs up for them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that. You guys have anything else? So we turn it around to you. Any questions that you got for me? We kind of let you be the host for
what's the future?
Questions.
What's up with Manny Cid after you're done with Miami Lakes?
Man, I have 9 council meetings left as mayor of Miami Lakes officially, right? Who's counting, right? You know, I'm heading on my 12th year on the day. So I'm running for mayor of the county, right? Running countywide, which is really interesting, right? You get to see the how blessed we are to live where we are, right? In terms of how well things work, but you also get to see opportunities to help people at a different level, which is really cool. But I also love food, right? I love the food industry, and one thing that I learned at my restaurant is food brings people together, right? So I've created so many relationships with people that are friends for life. I mean, people who I've known, and unfortunately some have passed, and I've gone to their viewings with their families, but I met them because of breaking bread together, right? They would eat at the restaurant, and I think that we need more of that even in politics, right? I went on a TV show the other day, and the segment, it was interesting. I'm sitting down and I'm thinking I'm just gonna get interviewed, and the guy brings out food, and he makes me eat while we're getting interviewed, and he was like, "It's the best way to break, when you're breaking bread with people." So, I don't know. I love the restaurant business. It's a grind, right? Now luckily it's a little different. During COVID, I had to cook. It was a little crazy. But I also love public service. I teach at the university now. I teach at a high school. I love teaching as well. I love coaching. So I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm doing what I'm doing on the county level, doing that, and we'll see how that goes. But when I become, in that position, it's also temporary, right? It's only 8 years. It's 4 years. So there has to be that long-term goal to make sure that you fulfill yourself, your dreams and aspirations, but more importantly, you talked about family, have that time always con la familia. So yeah, good question. Anything else? You get one more question.
Another baby maybe coming?
Stay tuned. That is might be announcements in the future on that. But I would be at 4, so you would be at
4 too.
Okay. So yeah, I will have a basketball team between us. You know what I mean? We have five playing and then 3 on the coming off the bench. So, but yeah, kids are extremely fulfilling.
When you win, I hope that you do what you did here in Miami-Dade. You transform it. You make it into more hip, more modern, town. So we need that. We need to change from the traditional to new ways.
100%. So, Rufino, in closing, and I think your story is incredibly inspiring. Hence why we wanted to make sure you were a guest today, because your story is going to open up people's eyes. Because people only see the sign that says Limon, the Nail Salon, Vitrola, Cruceros, but they don't see the story behind it. And for somebody who came in to this country looking for opportunity, looking for freedoms, your story is what this country is all about. So if you can share some words of wisdom, inspiration, motivation to that next Rufino Paulino, who might be in La República Dominicana, who might be anywhere in the Caribbean, South America, Central America, looking for that opportunity to come to the United States to create a life like you have. What type of advice, motivation, inspiration would you have for that next Rufino Paulino in closing?
Again, be disciplined, be patient. I remember, this is something personal. When I turned 30, I'm 38 now, I was a little, they say depressed. I was a little down because I'm like, I'm a server, I don't know where my life is going. And around that time, I don't know if you know Chespirito, El Chavo del Ocho, Chapulín.
Okay.
He was one of my childhood heroes. Like back in my days, when the Chavo del Ocho was on, like everybody was on the TV. So he died around that time. And I remember in one of his interviews, he said, "Listen, I became famous after I was 40. So be patient, keep on grinding, and believe in yourself." So I'm like, okay. So I don't have to be feeling down. I say, be patient, keep working hard, and eventually, they say good luck will come to those who work hard. It's not good luck. It's basically what you deserve. You have to be consistent in, what you love. And I fell in love with, the restaurant, the food business. So I'm like, this is what I know. This is what I've learned. So I'm gonna be disciplined. I'm gonna, focus on that.
That's powerful, and there you have it, the incredibly inspiring story behind Rufino Paulino. Make sure you support him at Dr. Limon, Café Mi Vitrola, Crusaders. What's the name of the nail salon?
Nail Nova.
Nail Nova. And tune in next Wednesday on YouTube, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Take care.